Hello, I'm Chris Stegman with Trib Connect, and welcome to this week's episode of Trib Connected. We'll get right to it. We've got some esteemed colleagues with us. We have from Salt Flats Spirits, the head of operations, JC Straub. Thanks for coming, JC.
Thanks for having me.
From Dented Distillery, we have the owner, Marc Christensen. Thanks for coming today, Marc.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
And then the hospitality manager for the Leonardo, we have Scott Haley.
Thank you.
So thanks for coming today, guys. And the reason I wanted to bring you all here today is we're going to talk a little bit about, mostly we're going to talk about you. But the reason you guys are here is, one, Scott is helping us put on a great event at the Leonardo on December the 4th. But both of you guys will be representing your brands, and your brands will be exclusively served at the Leonardo at the Best Fest on December the 4th. So, one, thank you for your partnership, and again, thank you for being here today. So, we'll get right to it. I just want to talk a little bit about spirits in Utah, which, quite honestly, I never thought I'd talk about spirits in Utah so much. But it's all I've done over the last couple of weeks. But we'll start with JC. JC, you want to kind of tell us a little bit about Salt Flats Distillery, way back when it was Salt Flats Brewing, which wasn't that long ago, all the way to now with Salt Flats Distillery.
Yeah, absolutely. So we run a full brewery and distillery, which is kind of cool because we, in turn, get to use both kind of worlds to play off each other. The brewery came online, I want to say summer of 2016, super small system, just brewing for our location out in Draper, the Garage Grill. And basically after about a year and a half, we kind of started building up, scaling up, said we're going to do this for real. Equipment got bigger, staff got larger, orders got bigger. And about that same time, ownership came down and said, I think we're going to actually open a distillery as well. So kind of a shock to all of us, but we rolled with the punches. We were able to find a mid-sized distillery out in Colorado that was going under, and so it allowed us to kind of do a lump purchase of some equipment and really get started going in the right direction. And I think that landed about mid-19, and so we've only been really distilling for about 2 years, and really the first 6 months is just getting your equipment under you, getting your facility under you, figuring out how the state of Utah works with everything. So really about a year and a half in the market, and it's going well. It's been a lot of fun. We're putting out great product and going a lot of directions and having a good time with it.
Now, you were at Garage Grill in 16, 17.
Yep. Yeah. I've been with the company 9 years, maybe, something like that. I've ran multiple restaurants for them. We've got Toscano in Sandy Draper area. We've got Garage Grill in Draper. We've got a brand new Garage Grill coming online in the Harriman area. We've had some others, come pop up and kind of shut down and fizzle out. But we're always working for the next best thing and continuing to push no matter what happens. So
now I was reading that you brought a pretty good brewmaster from Firestone out in California.
Yeah, we were able to source Scott Parker when we first kind of fired up operations and got really lucky him coming to town. He had been at Firestone for I want to say 8 years, something like that. And he got us going in the right direction. He's moved on. He was here for a limited time, and we knew that jumping in with him. But his predecessor, who is in charge of head brewer now, has been with us since basically day 2.
Yeah.
He was the first hire after Scott. So we've got a good team. We've got a team that's been with us for years now, and things are going well.
And I read that 2017 you had a 15-gallon home brew, and you went from there to where you are now.
Yeah, we were doing a real small system just for the restaurant, and it couldn't even keep up with that. And so we upgraded to 3.5 barrels and really thought, let's keep up with our restaurants, maybe sell some kegs here and there. Quickly blew past that, got a full 10-barrel system, and now we brew for sure every day at least a single batch on that, if not a double batch on it. So we'll do basically, we kind of look at it in case equivalents, and so we'll do about probably 36,000 case equivalents this year.
Wow.
We're cranking.
Well, let's shift gears, talk about your spirits. It's going to be poured at the Salt City Best Fest. So talk a little bit about the style and some of the different products you guys offer.
So we've basically started off with doing just our core brand of more your standard, your bourbon, your vodka, your gin, and your rum. We still have to source a little bit of the bourbon to blend, just due to we don't have the production scale to keep up with how much we're shipping out weekly. So we source some, we distill some, we're blending all sorts of fun things, continuing to just refine it as much as we can every batch. And so definitely the bourbon's turning into a phenomenal product. that one just got a gold medal out in Denver this year, which we're really excited about. And then I brought the vodka as well. That's kind of our other flagship that we really try to keep a premium product at an affordable mid-range price. And we source organic French wheat for that one, and then do a corn blend and deliver that smoothness, targeting kind of those higher end vodka as well. So being friendly to your pocketbook at $19.99 a bottle instead of going so luxury that everyone can't afford it.
And I think you mentioned when we were there a couple of weeks ago that was it the front at Grey Goose and the back is Tito's, or did I have that opposite?
Front definitely Grey Goose. Our owner was a Grey Goose drinker for his life, and so when we were dialing in and going through recipe development, there was a lot of Grey Goose consumed, making sure we were aiming for the top.
Well, just for the purposes of research, I've got both of your vodkas in my cabinet, so I've been tasting them on a regular basis in preparation for today. So it was purely research. So
great. Yeah. We do spirits. We have a lot of fun with those, but really where we got creative, we came to market immediately with the ready-to-drink canned cocktails. So we've been producing those since day one that we actually started distilling, and that market in itself is just booming across the country. Utah's trying to figure it out a little bit. They're taking on more as the years go. They still don't know what they want to do with it in some aspects, like you can't go to a bar and still buy one yet or stuff like that, but they're getting there.
So how many shots of alcohol in the Long Island iced tea?
That was just shy about 3 shots in a can.
3 shots for $3.50. It's a pretty good deal here in Utah.
It sneaks up on you.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Those are kind of the fun, innovative things. We do produce some small batch stuff where, real limited that you can come get at our package agency. That's not going to quite make it into the state stores yet, but as we build that relationship with the state DABC and continue to prove that our products are going to work in their system, hopefully we get to introduce some more fun items like that.
To talk about the race theme, I know if you go to Garage Grill, it's in your face the moment you walk in. But even at the distillery, there's definitely the Lamborghini that's sitting on the floor there.
Yes, yeah. So our brewery and distillery are definitely automotive themed. The facility that we brew and distill out of is ownership's old race shop. He used to travel the country doing racing Ferraris, Le Mans cars, anything and everything really. And so there's a little more history in that building than just a metal, industrial building out in kind of South Salt Lake area. There's trophies hanging around, old banners, where our cold storage used to be an old machine shop. There's a lot more history to it, and so we try to keep that underlying theme and represent it with each kind of name and keep our brand on par with that. So.
Yeah, I learned the land speed record, 622, which is your vodka. I learned that from him.
It is.
Your owner when I was out there, so I had no idea.
Yeah, and that was set, I think it's like 30 years ago. I want to say it was set in
crazy.
78 or something like that, and it's held its ground for that long, so it's pretty cool. And then, obviously Bonneville Salt Flats goes hand in hand with that too, so we try to make sure we have that theme throughout all of our products.
And probably one of the most important things I learned when I was at the distillery was that I can buy my spirits on Sunday.
Yes, that is one unique part about all the DABC licenses we have in-house, that if you add them all up, we finally get a chance to sell our products on Sundays because we've had that full bar license on site. So you can come in and try anything on site first, come kick back at the bar, and then take anything to go, and we're open 7 days a week.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of our employees there since they found that out a couple weeks ago. So I know a lot of them mentioned that they were going to be making some business. You don't have to give anybody up, so that's cool.
We're discreet out there.
Yes. Anything else?
No, we're just excited for the Best Fest. I mean, we're going to definitely bring a few products. I know we've got some of our bartenders at our restaurants working on some fun cocktails. Good. I know the Garage Grill is going to bring some fun stuff to kind of go food-wise, and we're excited. We're going to have a good time with it.
That's great. That's great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll shift gears over to Dented Brick. Marc, so you've got a great story from the bricks with the bullet holes in them, the dented bricks.
Yeah.
Literally, I'd love to share that story, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about your background and how you got into this and where you've gone from there.
Well, I grew up in the wine region in Idaho. There's a region out there called Snake River AVA that people haven't heard of. In fact, I was out there this weekend for a release party. But pretty cool place. Grew up kind of working as a supplier to the wine industry out there, and met a lot of guys that were growing grapes. back in the day in Idaho, when you were 14, you could get a driver's license if you had a job. And so I was working for my dad's ag company, and he had me start delivering stuff to these wineries, mostly dripper systems and things, because they couldn't use flood irrigation to wash away all the slopes, all the dirt, because they're on the slopes, and they couldn't use sprinkler irrigation because it molds the grapes and leaves and everything. And so these drippers were ideal for these guys planting grapes out there. So I grew up, I got to know several of the vintners out there, but one of the guys that's really been there long term and been kind of a mentor for me is Steve Robertson from Hell's Canyon Winery. And we still work on some stuff together. We did some rum aged in Cabernet wine barrels. We've got some gin down in some Chardonnay barrels right now that's tasting really good. It's pretty exciting. So I came out to Utah to go to school thinking I was going to go back to the wine industry in Idaho, and instead met kids in Park City. And one of my fraternity brothers was working at Park City in the marketing department and offered me a job up there. And so headed up to Park City in 1989, I think, and was working up there and started a completely different company outside of the booze business, and I ran that for 28 years. And I was like, man, I need to get back to where my passion is. And had a guy move in next to me where I was living, and he was looking to leave the job he was doing. Had a lot of management experience, and so we came up with this plan of him taking over and running my barricade company, and then I would go and start a distillery, and he would invest in that, and we'd be partners. And it's kind of where it started. It was about 2014, 2015. And we went out and raised some money and got all our drawings. I went to a bunch of distilling schools and spent a bunch of time in Kentucky. And we were kind of ready to go. We found a contractor and kind of showed him the drawings based on some of the distilleries that I had visited in Kentucky. And he gave us a bid, and we raised all the money. And we're trying to find a piece of property in Salt Lake to do this. And federal law, you can't be within 500 feet of a church or a school, right? And so we were looking, and we got incredibly lucky. We found this property. It was zoned for a distillery. It was an RDA, and it had an artesian well on site. Turns out that there was this little brick house on the property, and there were all these well drilling rigs parked around. A lot of them were antiques. They were wooden wheeled rigs up on these concrete like pillar things so they wouldn't rot. And the family turns out to own the building. They were using it for an office for a well drilling outfit, and Grandpa was a water witch dowser, so he would go out with a cherry limb and he'd be able to tell them where to dig to hit groundwater. And so they were drilling Artesian Well Park. They drilled a lot of the little parks where people go fill their water now, and we have a well on site they drilled in 1987. It's 208 feet deep. So we just stumbled across this property. It was pretty amazing, and there was about 3 or 4 months. We bought it in early summer, and contractor couldn't actually start building it until later in the fall. And we turned off all the water and everything, so the grass in the yard and all the plants and everything was brown and dried out. And the neighbors called and they were complaining. And I said, okay, we'll fix it. And so called a bunch of local investors, and we had a work party one Saturday and went out there and cleaning up the yard, and I opened the house, and people were kind of wandering around checking it out. And somebody noticed that there were bullet holes all across the front of this little brick house, and a lot of the bricks were chipped from bullet holes, and they were clearly bullet holes. It's like, oh shit. And we found out that one of the well drillers was killed in a shootout on the front porch of the house. And so out of deference to that well driller and how important the well is to distilling, we changed our name to Dented Brick Distillery. And we actually took a lot of the bricks from the house and pulled them off the old house and put them in the new distillery. And we have a little entry gate from the little chain link fence as the entryway into the distillery. So all just because the water is so incredibly important there. Yeah.
Very cool.
So,
That is very cool.
Yeah, we ran into all kinds of crazy history. This guy Hugh Moon, our Moon's Best Whiskey, at one point he actually owned the property. He had a farm there, and he was actually a distiller in Utah from about 1850 something when they first came out from when the Mormons first came out from Nauvoo. He was distilling here, and the history around that guy and all of the whiskey that he made, we're recreating a lot of his labels, is really astonishing. Like to have all of those coincidences all in this one property is really cool. Yeah.
So you mentioned you were in Kentucky.
Yeah.
So I know JC mentioned that their vodka is kind of patterned after Grey Goose. Did you have a certain brand or company you looked at out there?
I spent a lot of time at Buffalo Trace. Just a really cool place, really nice people. They kind of took me under their wing, really showed me how they make everything. they've got a big rick house where they age whiskey, and they all of their experiments and everything that they do all the time, they make it public for every distiller. They're just really cool people and a really great company.
Great product too.
Yeah, and great products, right?
Great products. Yeah, I think they're in a dry county too, aren't they?
Yeah,
Kentucky?
yeah. Actually, most of Kentucky's dry.
Most of it's dry.
Pretty
Very
weird.
interesting. Dry or moist. I learned about moist counties in Kentucky.
Similar to Utah in a lot of
Very
ways.
different, yeah. But believe me, Utah doesn't have moonshine like Kentucky does,
Right.
though. So yeah.
Right.
So talk about your other products.
So we make vodka. Yeah, we make vodka, gin.
I say that sometimes,
right?
but usually after some vodka.
We kind of do two. We do a value brand and we do a premium brand, and we do vodka, gin, rum, and whiskey in each of those price levels. So we try to make stuff that's really approachable, it's really good, that moves volume out to stores, and then we try to make some really high-end, more fancy stuff along that line. And then we do fun stuff like Dented brick and glitter
The disco
rums,
rum.
right?
You got to talk about the disco rum.
So we made coconut flavored rum, just a traditional flavored rum with actual. We don't use artificial flavors. We use all natural syrups, and so we made this coconut rum with this coconut syrup. And I can't remember how we came up with the idea, but somebody came across this edible glitter, and I'm like, well, let's put glitter in this rum. And we did. We call it disco nut, and the glitter, if you shake the bottle up, it's suspended, and it's really fun. It's lower proof. The glitter will actually melt at high proof, so we proofed it down to 50. But at 50, it makes a great mixer. And so a lot of the bars around here are really excited to get a handle on it, and we're doing really well in some other markets, Arizona, Missouri, and New York with it. So.
Great.
Yeah, it's making a big splash, and we'll be serving it at the
I-
Leonardo on
Disco
December 4th.
Punch,
I think Disco Punch sounds like a good idea, yeah.
I think we had a little bit of vodka that night
Right.
when Disco Punch was created.
Yeah, I think a Disco Punch sounds
Disco
like,
Punch would
right?
go very well. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And where can we buy your products as well?
All of our value brands are in the state liquor stores. They have a big brick on them. They say Dented brick and Dented brick craft vodka, craft rum, craft gin, craft whiskey. They're all $15.99 a liter. And then some of our premium brands are in some of the stores. We're kind of working on that, but you can buy them all at the distillery, and we have a lot of products that aren't available at the distillery, just the one-offs like the gin and the Chardonnay wine barrel and the rum and the Cabernet barrel from my buddy Steve at Hell's Canyon. We've got a peach-flavored rum, Daddy Stump rum. It's got a good history to it as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't ask. You mentioned an award. Talk about the awards both of your brands have won. So I'd love to be able to talk about those a little bit.
Thank you for asking. So the Moon's Best right there in front of you. Today we just got notified. We got a 95 rating on that from the New York International Spirits Competition. We got a gold medal, and we got Best Rye of Utah, which is, there's not that many ryes in Utah. But we got a Best Distillery award, too, from those guys.
Wonderful.
And that was pretty prestigious. So a 95 rating is really a big deal.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah.
JC, you mentioned one. I saw you had quite a few.
Yeah, we've been really submitting all over in the last year. And so I think we're up to about 11 accolades between our main 4 brands.
Okay.
A couple for the cocktails, too. Those have some fun competitions coming out. But yeah, we mainly submit for the last couple of years over to the American Craft Spirit Awards, Denver International Spirit Awards, a few others here and there, and trying to expand that and continuing to refine and read those comments when you get. It's not just about collecting a little single medal. It's about hearing feedback from hopefully some experts in the industry and continuing to just fine tune everything and continuing to grow and always keep pushing for the next level.
Just a quick question before we move on. I'm sorry. With Tito's being such a big national brand and vodka being so big, is craft vodka, craft spirits, is it gaining on the Tito's type brands? Because it seems like in this market, I've lived in Texas, lived in Arizona, I didn't experience the local brands like I've experienced here in Utah.
The locals Utah's got a great local following. I've been here about 9 or 10 years. I'm actually from Idaho myself. And you've watched it change. I definitely see over the last 5 years just anything from restaurants to craft spirits to craft beer, the whole industry has been shifting towards that focus. Tito only has one way to go, and that's down for us, right?
Yeah.
So we want to steal all their market share we can. But we feel like the community around here is really giving a lot of support to being able to do the fun things that we get a chance to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tito's is the tough one. It's the largest vodka in the world. in the entire world, right? The guy, it's amazing what he's done.
Very quickly too.
Yeah, and the consumers really believe it's craft, right? They're like, Tito built his own stills and he makes all this vodka out of his in Texas, right? And it's just, a cursory look at it, it's not true. And in fact, he was sued over it several years ago and ended up winning because his label says it's made by hand in Texas and all this stuff. But when you talk to a consumer and somebody who's really a Tito's lover, you just can't bring that up, right? You just say, try mine against Tito's. I think it's a little better. Tito's is also made from corn. It's really corn white lightning. It's not actually vodka, which is even more interesting. So, yeah.
And the price point in Utah for Tito, I lived in Texas. It was obviously very affordable there.
Yeah.
Not super affordable here.
Yeah.
So,
and it gives us an opportunity here. And
for sure.
And I think, too, the craft movement is really good here for all across all the culinary bars, restaurants, everything. It's going quite well. And I think that the consumers that really understand it and understand, volumes that a true craft maker can make and those kind of things are definitely reaching for our kind of brands. We get a lot of local support too. Snowbird, they were great this year during Oktoberfest. They featured us at the Forklift Restaurant. I think we had 11 cocktails. We were the only cocktail featured up there.
Great.
So some local stuff like that really helps, local events and local people in the culinary industry.
Great.
Yeah.
So the other thing I'll mention is seminars. You guys are both going to be doing seminars at Salt City Best Fest, which will be great. So people, as you come to the event, there'll be a seminar in the day session and a seminar in the evening session. I don't know if you guys have decided yet what you're going to talk about or what brands you're going to focus on for the seminar. I'm not going to put you on the spot now. So, but they should be very fun, and you guys have a plethora of information and both very interesting stories. So I definitely will be fun to attend those seminars.
I think I'll be doing one on disco dancing.
Disco dancing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Right?
Yeah. Well, thank you. So we're going to turn our attention to Scott Haley. So Scott is the hospitality manager, director.
Senior hospitality manager.
Sorry, I've left the senior out. So at the Leonardo, and Scott's been a great partner with us in crafting what we think is going to be the signature event of the year in Salt Lake City. But Scott, tell us a little bit about Leonardo, but tell us more so what's going on there, because every time I've gone there over the last 2 months, it seems like there's something new being added.
Yes.
And there's definitely a lot of changes. I'm not going to lie, the first time I set foot in it before you there, it was like, okay, yeah, this is a cool event, be a cool venue, but it feels like almost an empty warehouse. But it's totally changed since that first time that I entered Leonardo.
Yeah. So I've been there 3.5 months, and it has changed a lot since I walked in that door. And since I met Chris, we have our flight exhibit on the first floor. Our second floor just opened up Black Wings a few weeks ago, which we brought over from the Smithsonian. We're opening up 2 new exhibits starting November 13th. And so a lot of demolitions going on, a lot of sanding right now. But, we're a science and innovation museum. We've been here for 10 years. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary on October 8th, so it's been great. And we're in the old library space. So obviously when the new library opened, we moved into that space and have been there 10 years. And prior to COVID, it was a great museum, obviously, with a lot of staff and a lot of exhibits. We've had a lot of body works in the past, Pompeii. But now, after coming out of COVID and everyone kind of being let go or leaving, we've been rebuilding. And we're getting to a point of, I think we're over 40 now on staff and having really good food and beverage with our hospitality and event sales. We're excited for the Salt City Best Fest. It's been great working with Chris and all the vendors, as well as Dented Brick and Salt Flats, and just seeing all the really interesting food and beverage going to be there on December 4th.
Gotcha. So talk a little bit about this event as it relates to. I've only been in market for less than a year. So what other events does Leonardo have coming up, or what types of things have been successful there in the past?
So we have a new partner. Ken Sanders is going to be moving into our facility as well later this year and early next year as he moves out of his current space. And so we have partners like Ken Sanders on board who will be working with not only just selling books but doing events as well with his staff. We did a private event a few weeks ago with him and Kate McLeod, who's actually going to be at Fisher this Friday. She's releasing a new album, which Fisher just created a beer for her. And we also have a very large space. We have 100,000 square feet and 5 floors. And if you look at that facility where we're on the 3 floors for your event, for Salt City Best Fest, you're looking at probably 60,000, give or take. we've done, multiple events since I've been there, whether they're corporate events, birthday parties, retirement parties, weddings. We've had corporate buyouts that have also brought in bands there on the quad right beside us. So we can do anything from a 20-person birthday party for kids up to multiple hundreds, or almost 2,000 for the entire building.
Yeah. Last week when I was there, it seemed like there was a ton of people just in the museum.
Yeah.
On the first floor.
We just hit over 220 2 Saturdays ago. That's when great. The weather was turning on a Saturday, just coming in. We also have our spectacular going on with our program on Saturdays, so we're getting a lot of kids coming in, whether it's to do with pumpkins or making haunted houses. And we've got a great education staff. We also do a lot of field trips. We have a field trip every day this week. So kids are coming in from all over the valley here in Salt Lake as well. And they're doing workshops with them for 2 hours between 10 and 12 almost every day.
Right. But concierge night, I took advantage of the flight simulator.
Yes.
And I now know there's a reason why they don't let pilots straight before they fly. So everybody perished on my flight.
Yeah.
So it was not good. But the flight simulator will be there for the event too.
It will be. We have one going right now. We're working to get both up. The big thing is the staff. We just need to have multiple staff on the floor when those are both running. But we're excited to have people to be able to see the exhibit. I think concierge night that we did was great for people to come in and get a chance to see what Leonardo wants to get back to, whether it's doing an event with our great, third floor with the views of the city, as well as just being able to highlight any of our museum exhibits. The one thing I do have to remember, and I've told Chris a few times because we've had some conversations where people want to move things, and we are a museum, so certain things I cannot remove.
The creepy kids on the first floor, we cannot get out there. Feel like I'm at Tomorrowland at Disney World from 25 years ago. So
correct.
That area will be blocked off. The kids will not be coming out during the event. So if you've been Leonardo the kids,
I haven't.
So yeah, you'll see them. You'll think the same thing. Trust me. You need like a Chucky doll in the middle of those kids, I think. So
Halloween's up.
Yeah, Halloween up, yeah, for sure. So anything else? The art exhibit coming in December.
Yeah,
is exciting for the actual during our event.
It is. It's going to be very similar to what's going on with Van Gogh at Atmosphere Studio. We were talking about that today because I know the Trib just released a nice article on that.
Yeah. So thanks, Scott, for that.
You're very welcome.
Great. We're very much looking forward to the event and seeing you. I'll see a lot of you, obviously, between now and then. I think
absolutely.
I see you 5 times a week over there.
I think at least.
Somebody else wants to tour next week, by the way.
Yeah, I'd love to have you both.
Yeah. So just to recap, Salt City Best Fest, we've got Dented Brick and Salt Flats Distillery going to be pouring there, so we can't wait to have you pour for the 4,000 to 6,000, maybe more, hopefully, people that will show up for it as well. We're really looking forward to the seminars. You guys both have great stories, so thank you for sharing those today. So for the last thing, I think we need disco thing. Yeah, I think we need the light on for this last one. I did a little research, and there's kind of a disco theme with JC in the past. And I found this, and it kind of had a 70s disco theme. You want to explain that picture, JC?
I was rocking a mustache.
Was
for
it
a couple
November?
Years. Nope. My wife hated it for all 2 years that I had it. But it is getting to that season again, isn't it?
It is getting that season again. So yeah. So, I couldn't find any of you, Marc. Nothing incriminating, but I figured I found this of JC. So
we bury all the incriminating stuff in a cave up
do
in
you?
the
Okay.
hills.
It's in a barrel in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. With Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for both being. JC, thank you very much.
Yep.
Marc, thanks for being on as well. Scott, really appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you guys on December.
Yeah, it's going to be
4th.
fun. It's going to be a great event.
We're
thank
looking
you.
forward to it.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.